Well, it is the time of the show when we get to understand something about the SMB Insight. And with the SMB Insight, we look at critical issues, amongst which those issues that one ought to understand, deep analysis of strategies. And when we look at today's, we shall be looking at investment clubs. And these are amongst those clubs that are coming up with this generation. A number of Ugandans are seeking for saving groups, others are seeking for investment clubs. Well, you can definitely look at a simple definition of this particular one, but before that, let's first kick it off from there. What an investment club is, for you to first understand what we're talking about here.
An investment club, I'll answer it in singular. An investment club is a group of people. By group, I mean 3 and above, because 2 is a joint account. So it's a group of people, 3 and above, that pool resources, financial resources, periodically, monthly, weekly, annually, whichever it is, but periodically. Those are the keywords. It's a group of people that pools resources periodically for the sole purpose of investment. So the keywords are group, periodically, resources, and investment. Those things will form what an investment club is.
Well, when you look at that also, the other definition that you can get of an investment club is a group of individuals or people who meet for the purpose of pooling money and investing. The members here in the investment club typically meet on periodic basis to make investment decisions as a group through a voting process and recording of minutes. Or furthermore, they gather information and perform investment transactions outside the group. In most cases, these have steadily been growing on the African continent as well. And many people who are no longer opting for the saving groups go for the investment groups, because in here you can actually decide to invest in a company or invest in a business as a group, and in the long run the profits and the dividends are shared amongst yourselves. That is for the investment clubs. Well, as any other investment, there is always a risk attached to something. Even when people are saving under savings and cooperative groups or the circles, there are always risks attached to them. But now, let's look at some of these risks that are attached to these investment clubs that one ought to know before investing in one of them. Let's take a look.
Depending on the controls that you have in place or the governance structures, younger clubs tend to attract a bit higher risk than older clubs because they are still weak. They probably do not have a bank account yet, or their registration status. If you have just started a club 3 months ago, then some of the controls are still a bit weak. So younger clubs tend to attract a bit higher risk. It, however, does not mean that they cannot work. They can definitely work if you have got proper structures. If you have got, for example, good leadership in place, you have got integrity and stuff like that. So yes, those are some of the... It is possible that you might lose your money. You can invest in something and it fails, okay? We've ever lost money in Chrysler Capital. We've ever bought land and it turned out to be a quack. So yes, there are risks attached to them, but the truth is the risks involved in group investment.
Well, there are risks attached to them, and like the gentleman says, and he also reveals that as a matter of fact, when you continuously go on with the investment, more so when you invest, you join the young investment clubs, a number of risks attached to those ones because they are still young and new in the business. Well, besides that, when you look at investment clubs, they've actually been around for several decades and are simply the groups of people, like we said, who get together and pool their money for the interest. While the primary motivation is to make as much money as possible, clubs also have a great way for investors to share ideas and learn about the market from the other. So when you look at also the importance of these investment clubs, is that with your money, you get to sit down like shareholders of a business and try to advise one another. The advice that comes to both of you is to help you understand how best you can utilize your money or how best you can utilize your funds. And so is with these investment clubs. And sometimes one will still ask, why do investment clubs fail? According to some of the reports that come out, is that if the members do not participate heavily, these investment clubs are doomed to fail. Remember, once it is an investment club, that means all individuals, whether you're 4, 8, 7, wherever the number may be, you need to make sure that you all contribute heavily. Even so, when it comes to the situation that, according to findings, once people are not participating, this creates problems, particularly if a new member doesn't have the club's overall approach to investing, or if it's not clear on what is expected of the club members. Because in most cases, every other day when the two meet, all these meetings that are always scheduled for investment clubs, is to help people build a structure on how they're going to invest their money and how they're going to make good use of the money that they receive. Are they going to put it back into the investment, or are they going to put it in various investments in here or out there? The advice that you get through the ideas that you share help you boost the investment club. And if at all you don't want it to fail, you could still think of trying as much as you can to participate in everything to do with the business, the situation to do with the investment clubs. And if you can see, investment clubs can be found in most municipalities and regions across the African continent, not only even here in Uganda, and they have actually been around for quite a long time. More so when you look at the more developed world. It's just that with the generation that we are in now, people are getting more used and are adapting more to the investment clubs. Most of those that are informed of the importance and the achievements one can get or earn by utilizing the opportunities that rise from the investment clubs. Well, the other question would be, what are the criteria that one should use to choose a good investment club? Or what should one have what are those key notes one ought to know before they engage into any investment clubs? Because before we actually even try to save with the circles, you get to understand the rules and regulations of the circles, or the rules and regulations of the game, when you will be receiving the money, how much profit is attached to it, or is there any profit or no profit. So amongst which, those are some of the things that people need to know. So let's look at the criteria needed to undertake when choosing for an investment club.
In selecting an investment club to belong to is the purpose for which the investment club is set up. If you do not subscribe to the purpose for an investment club, then you cannot belong to that investment club. That's number one. I'll give an example. Someone could belong to an investment club that is out to invest in a bar. If you're a Muslim, you cannot join such an investment club. Or there's an investment club that was set out and their purpose was to start saving for retirement. If you're already retired, then you probably do not subscribe to such an investment club. So number one, it's the purpose. Number two, the membership requirements. There's an investment club that only entertains Christians. So you cannot belong to that club if you're not a Christian. So the caliber of members that join, as well as the purpose, those are major things.
So when he talks about purpose, having a purpose in life is very important for anyone and for any person out there who wants to venture into any business, regardless of the matter it would be. When you look at the situations of, let's say, investment clubs, quite anonymous when you get to understand the purpose. Purpose is important. For example, one who is in their retirement, or if at all you're not ready to invest, to actually go and invest in for retirement, then you shouldn't join an investment club that is focusing on the retirement of the members. There are also investment clubs that look at investing in a club, let's say bars, or maybe someone wants to operate, others want to operate a pork selling point. And once you're a Muslim, you would see that this investment club may not be suitable for you, also due to the religious beliefs that you abide by. So you can see that that would affect you in the long run. So that is the issue of purpose. you need to understand what are the motives and the vision of the investment club before you actually go out there and be part of it. Because with that, you'll understand the rules and regulations of the game. You can easily give advantages, or you can easily rather give advice. Not advantages, but give advice to the people. Well, trying as much as you can. When you look at this, investment clubs have to register and offer sale of its membership interests with one of you, and you need to have a registration that with the securities to prefer, if you're to look at with the authorities, for example, the monetary authorities in a country, to see that people do not lose with it, to lose money. Those are some of the risks that are actually attached to some of these investment clubs. Well, furthermore, when you look at the rising of the investment clubs and still looking at the criteria that one ought to have, is that you need to understand the mission of these investment clubs before trying to engage in one of the activities in or out of them. Because once you don't know the vision or the mission of the people or the founders of the investment club, then you're bound to fail as a member, or you're also bound to fail the whole group, because you will be giving advice relating quite differently to what is expected from the investment club. Besides that, there will always be another worry or another decision to take. That is a difference between investment and saving, or rather investment clubs and a saving group. Investment clubs in the country, quite many and anonymous, and they have quite a number of people. And most people in Uganda are actually having investment clubs, and others are actually joining or coming up with these investment clubs on social media platforms, getting a number of people, individuals, to help them out, pool these resources and investing in the clubs. For the savings groups, here you save in the actual amount of money, and you may either receive the exact amount or receive more money, which also has got you with some profits to it. Now, let's take a look at the difference between the saving groups and an investment club. What makes the two different? Take a look.
Difference is that investment clubs invest. Investment clubs invest in various things: real estate, business, all sorts of things. But that's the difference. Savings clubs are only set out for the purpose of encouraging savings. Investment clubs do both. You pool resources through saving, and then you invest that money in whatever you will have decided to invest in. That is the key difference between the two. Yes.
All right. So when you look at the situation, is that basically investment clubs pool resources and invest. But with a savings group or a savings club, it is completely about saving. It's just like someone opening up a savings account with a bank. So the little salary you get or the little profit you make of your business is what you save. And with the savings, you actually receive, with the ongoing savings and cooperative societies in the country, you save your money and receive the exact amount of money, or with some profits, depending on the rules of the game with the savings club that you are attached to. Because some savings clubs give opportunities for people to actually come to lend out money. They actually lend out some money to certain groups or certain businesses. And these businesses bring in profits, and it's that profit that is attached to the money that goes to the members who have been saving with this. And because the money has to make good productivity, or in simple terms, the money has to go into circulation. And once the money goes into circulation, then it is quite unavoidable that it will not bring some profits in there. And when you look at the investment clubs, they just invest the money, bring the money together. We collect money, pool together, pool the money. It is just a collection or a pool collection where you get the money, pool resources together. It may not necessarily be money alone. Pool resources together, try to invest it into a project or invest it into a business. And once you invest this into a business, then the outcome, if some of the risks that are also attached to investment clubs, that if the business that you've invested in doesn't make the profits, then that means the whole group that has invested is going to suffer. And with the investment club as well, you get to enjoy the profits together as a team. So if a team of 5 or 6 chose to invest in a certain business or a certain group, once the profits start coming out, then you can invest. You can share these dividends. After sharing them, you can as well invest in other businesses to grow your investments bigger and more better. The difference also can be attached to is that saving is often deposited into a banking savings account or a fixed deposit. And on the other hand, investing involves buying assets such as real estate, gold, stocks, or shares. People lately are buying stock and shares in mutual funds that have the potential to increase in value over time. And when value in over time also comes up, so depositing in a bank or a fixed deposit is more of a saving. With investment clubs, you don't save. Money has to be used. So you see, even I would think in relations to what is happening in Uganda, you could think also banks are running like investment clubs, because banks will get the money of will actually get money from those people who have actually opened up savings account, and then give it out as loans to people applying for them. And for the people who apply for the loans, then that means at the end of the day, they will have to return the money with interest. It is that interest that is recognized or considered as profit for those under the savings groups or the savings accounts. So, well, with saving, it is also important for one to save. And saving is very beneficial for one, but in the long run, try to invest the money. You may not be running under investment clubs, but you can you can get your money and invest it somewhere and keep the money in circulation, like I said. Well, the economy is steadily growing. This very year, we are looking at boosting our economy and also reviving finances in our wallets in one way or the other. In the time when wallets are emptying and people are trying to make sure they get money, put them back to a full tank process, it is when you will agree that when you save, invest in something. Once you invest in, you get some profits out of it, then you are reviving yourself. It is a year for economic recovery. Well, with that, this is Smart Means Business. We keep continuously giving you details regarding business and giving you all the updates in as far as the business world is concerned. And summing up all conversations is that to let you know of the advantages that come with investing in clubs is that once, like I said, once there is profit and you can all benefit from it as well. And let's try to look a little bit as we're summing up this discussion on the details of investment clubs in Uganda. Like I said, they're growing, not only in countries that are far away from ours, but also in Uganda. The Ugandans are adopting on the issue of investment clubs here. So when you look at those investment clubs in Uganda, one could try to ask, how can one start up an investment club in Uganda? Some of the few criteria that you can find is that you can open, you may need an opening cash deposit of around 50,000 if you want to open up an investment club here. Then you'll also need a copy of investment clubs, including laws, minutes with a resolution to open the account for those that want to start up with the investment club. Or you can also have a copy of the investment club registration certificate with you. As a matter of fact, to pull these other shareholders into the investment club, you need to have some of these. You also need to have a copy of valid identity documents for account signatories, inclusive. So you need to have identity documents for account signatories so that you need to formalize your business, and it's supposed to be able to attract others. And the best way to attract all these individuals is to do a formal way of the business. Well, with this, there are currently a number of investment clubs. There's a Center Investment Club current account that belongs to one of the other banks there. As most of the banks here, most of the private banks in Uganda actually setting up investment clubs or investment accounts. different banks. So it depends on a different commercial bank that you are attached to, because they've been able to pool resources and also create these investment accounts for people to bring in money, depositing as they're investing in something, and in the long run you get the money out of it. So it is a venture that you will try it out. So risks attached to businesses are many, and you don't need to get really scared of a risk, because then you won't be ready to become an entrepreneur. You won't be ready to become successful with a business. And there's many business people out there have been in business for over 10, 15 years. They've not been making the profits, but they've been pushing for the businesses to grow. And if you want to push your businesses to grow, basically, you need to also take those risks. Some people believe that there are very few risks in the business, because once it is a risk, then you don't need to put your money in there, because a risk, in most cases, we all realize that something is a risk after it has failed to work out. But when we have, let me say, we are just scared of taking some moves in businesses. But then when you take a move, sometimes it may benefit you, may be of your own benefit, and you may earn a lot of money. I'm Jerome Paul Sanko. This is Smart Means Business. Be the first to know all the details regarding business, and also grow your business with us by advertising. We are located at Plot 42 Nile Avenue, opposite Garden City. You can learn more about business reports and stories by adding us up on our socials, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as following us on our YouTube. Subscribe, hit that button, and like, comment, and share. Well, with that, Smart Means Business will continue shortly after with more of the business reports. Stick around.